Welcome to this special edition of ICN. I'm your host, Annika Knutson, and joining me is Dr. Margaret Annunziata, the president of Isothermal Community College. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
I'm so happy to have you. So we had talked a little bit before briefly, and I had asked you a little bit about your history with community college, and it made me even more curious. When did you know you wanted to be part of community college administration? How did you realize that that was something that you wanted to do?
You know, that was something that just kind of emerged as I was engaged in work in community colleges. Prior to coming to Isothermal, I spent almost 24 years at a sister institution in North Carolina and served in a variety of roles. I started as the director of the Child Development Center on campus and grew up really on that campus. And in that work, I worked with amazing people across campus, with great leaders and people who were passionate about the work as I was. And in February of 2013, I was at a conference. And at that time, the president was on the trip as well. And she was seated beside me at lunch. And she turned to me and she said, "Margaret, what do you want to do?" And I gave her a rather obscure answer. And I said, "I want to affect change." And she said, "Okay, that's a political answer." And I said, "No, I mean it. I want to support people in continuing to make things better for our students. I think there's always more that we can do, and I want to be a part of that." And she said, "Well, then you should be an associate dean." And I had zero interest in being an associate dean. However, I took her advice, and when there were positions available internally, I applied. And finally, the position was right. It wasn't an associate dean position, but it was focused on student success. And that was right for me, and I was selected for that position. And then from there, I became the vice president for academic affairs and filled that role until I came here to serve as president.
Wonderful. So, following that, since you knew that you found a position that was right for you, you were selected for the Aspen Institute's President's Fellowship. And you mentioned that you talk about best practices and that sort of thing about how to make community colleges better in a practical context, but also in a context of paving the ways for the future to open up more doors for more people.
Right.
So what are some of the best practices that you'd like to highlight from some of those discussions?
So I join with 24 other community college presidents, and we come together and we look at, first we start with our data. One of the expectations really in college leadership is that you start with data and you really dig in and understand the context of the community that you're serving and the students whom you're serving. So with that focus, Aspen very much assists us in focusing at this point toward the kind of long-term outcomes for our students, our graduates. That is, do we have things designed so that individuals who come and enroll in our courses and complete programs are able to, upon completion, move directly into the workforce with a family-sustaining wage so that they can support themselves and their families, or move smoothly into a university through a transfer pathway so that they can then complete at the university and move into career with a family-sustaining wage. And so that really is the focus of our work when we gather as colleagues, to take hard looks at ourselves and our leadership. Are we being bold and looking at how we are ensuring that students have a streamlined pathway, that they're not wasting time? Not that education is a waste of time. Education's delightful. But if you're working toward getting into a career, it needs to be focused, it needs to be intentional, It needs to be supported, and it needs to lead to the outcome that you're seeking.
I think that's a very good best practice.
Absolutely.
And then you've said that you love providing opportunities to the community and that connection to career is important, but skills are needed for a higher rate of pay. Can you expand on that just a little bit?
Certainly. So one of the things that I think we recognize in higher education is that there are lots of different programs of study. Some of those programs provide immediate benefit in terms of high skill and high wage opportunities. Some programs are less immediate. We have to make sure that we're connecting individuals to pathways that also are valued in the workplace, right? So if it is step 1 of a program, but they need to take step 2 and step 3 to get to that family sustaining wage in the workplace, then we have to make sure that the pathway leads through those steps, right? To develop all of the skills and to ensure that they're completing credentials that are recognized in the workplace, and you're able then to support yourself and your family.
Oh, that's wonderful. What would you consider the most important part of balancing your work and your personal life? I know that you have a lot of roles that you have to fill, so I wanted to get your perspective on it.
First of all, it's about defining what that balance is. I believe for me, in defining that balance, it all comes down to really being passionate about what I do, so that my work isn't difficult. It isn't a drudgery. It isn't something that I have to do. It's something that I have to do because I love it. That creates balance so that when I have, early mornings and late nights and everything in between, when I finally make it home, I'm often tired, right? There's a lot of energy expended, but I'm not drained. I'm energized. And that gives me energy for my family as well and for the other roles that I play. And it's also about prioritizing. So there are times when I need to prioritize my family and just really being cognizant of the things in life that are meaningful. That creates balance. But it's also about being present where I am. Because if I am fully present, then every moment can be meaningful.
Moving away from personal stuff for a moment, I was wondering, with the increasing presence of AI in many aspects of learning and the workforce in so many different ways, what is the impact AI has had on ICC, both positive and negative?
Well, I will tell you that the college is really trying to be on the leading edge of our work with AI, and that's represented in a very tangible way in our business sciences building where we have the X-Rail lab. So X-Rail stands for Extended Reality Artificial Intelligence Lab. So that space, funded by our partners, Meta, and the Carolina Cyber Network, allow us to delve into AI in a little more intentional way. That's a new space that we just brought online in the spring, and so we'll be using that to support our investigation and exploration of AI, but also for students, because our work is about preparing students for the future, and AI most certainly is a part of that future. Many people have likened it to a calculator, right? And back in the 1900s, calculators were, initially seen as a threat to students learning math. And now they are just an expectation. And so it's about how we use the tools. AI is very much the same thing, much more complex, but also very real. And it's our responsibility not to wish it away, but to prepare for it.
That makes sense. It does remind me, on most of the syllabi that I've seen at this college, there's always been an AI statement. And as far as I'm aware, professors are able to choose between 3 options where you can either choose to allow no AI whatsoever, to allow it in controlled specific circumstances. And then the third option, I'm not sure I've seen it before, but where it just kind of allows whatever usage. How were those 3 options decided on as something for the professors to decide rather than have it be a blanket statement across the whole college?
So it's really important for faculty to make determinations about their content and their instruction. And AI usage needs to be a faculty decision as it relates to the types of assignments in their courses and the goals of those assignments. So by allowing faculty to design what the options would be, right? Those were not options that I created and I said, here, go forth and you must. It's engaging faculty and saying, what makes sense? We need some guidelines to support all of us in our work. What makes sense in our courses? And so faculty determined those options and then determined that they would use those options to guide their own instructional experiences for students, which is, really helpful because in some cases you will see that a faculty member in a particular course may say, you absolutely are expected to use AI in this setting for this assignment, and then we're going to refine it, and you're not going to use AI in the refinement or in that kind of next version. So it's teaching, again, both the how to use it and how to use it responsibly for your goals, which will be really important in your career environment.
In many different environments, I imagine. Once things play out a little bit further, I think there's going to be a lot of it everywhere.
Absolutely.
All right. And coming back to you again, what kind of legacy do you hope to leave at ICC?
I must say to you that I don't really spend a lot of time thinking about legacy. I spend a lot of time thinking about impact, and some might say that's the same thing, but it's not about me. I tell people frequently, I check the center of the universe every day, and I'm not there. It's not about me. It's about our students. It's about our community. It's about the opportunities that we've created and the connections that we've done well so that the people who come to us find themselves better as a result of engaging with the college, better able to kind of direct their own future, better able, again, to support themselves and their families, their loved ones, through meaningful and rewarding careers. That's my goal. If, when I am no longer at Isothermal Community College, I have in some small way supported the team to provide those opportunities and to connect with students and to strengthen their lives and the lives across our community, that would be tremendous.
Planting seeds in a garden you'll never get to see. And then, what is your favorite aspect of your current role as the president of ICC?
Well, the opportunity that I rarely get to enjoy, but it's the time with students. It's the time with authentic conversation. I enjoy just the glimpses into our students' lives, and when they share with me their experiences here at the college, that's so meaningful.
I hope it's been at least a little bit of that for you.
Absolutely. This has been a pleasure, and I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of the conversation. And it's always good to see not just students in their kind of normal setting, if you will, but working toward the goals that you have for what comes next. What fun. And I am grateful.
Yay. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule for it. I know that you have so many different things coming on. You just came from a groundbreaking ceremony. It's very kind of you to be able to make it out here.
Absolutely my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for watching this special edition interview of ICN. I'm Annika Knudsen. This is Dr. Margaret Annunziata, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you so much.